The city didn't sleep. It only pretended to. From 40 floors above the streets, Victor Moretti watched the glow of headlights bleed through the fog like veins through skin. Every building, every alley, every whisper below him belonged to someone, and eventually, to him. Judges owed him favors. Politicians owed him silence. Criminal syndicates across 3 states moved when his name was spoken. But power never felt loud at the top. It felt quiet, lonely, deadly. Behind him, his penthouse office was lit by a single desk lamp. No windows open. No guards inside. No weapons in sight. He didn't need any of that. Fear traveled faster than bullets, and Victor had mastered both. His phone hadn't rung in weeks. That's how he liked it. The phone on his desk wasn't registered to any network. It had no number. No contact list. No history. It existed for only one reason: emergencies that didn't deserve records. It vibrated. Victor didn't move. He stared at it like a man staring at a loaded gun that shouldn't be there. The device hadn't been activated in 20 months. Slowly he lifted it. "Talk," he said. For a moment, there was nothing but breathing. Not nervous breathing. Controlled. "You don't know me anymore," the voice said, "but you used to." Victor's jaw tightened. His eyes narrowed, scanning reflections in the glass like someone might be standing behind him. "No one uses this line," he said. "Who gave it to you?" "You did." His grip tightened. "That's impossible." "Nothing about you is impossible, Victor." His name landed heavier than a gunshot. Only 3 people in the world were allowed to say it without consequences. 2 were dead. "Start explaining," he said calmly, though his pulse was beginning to climb. "I didn't call to explain," she replied. "I called because something that belongs to you has been asking questions." Silence. The city hummed below them like an animal breathing in the dark. "People don't call me for riddles," Victor said. "They call me when they want to survive." "I'm not asking for survival," she said. "I'm asking for truth." He stood. Slowly. Walked to the window. "What do you want?" he asked. "You to remember." A memory stirred, unwanted, buried, dangerous. 20 months ago, during a war with the Eastern Syndicate, Victor had disappeared for 4 days. His men believed he was negotiating peace. His enemies believed he was hiding. No one knew he was bleeding in a private hospital under a false name, saved by a woman who didn't ask who he was, only who he needed to become to live. Her face surfaced now in his mind, defiant eyes, shaking hands, voice full of fire. "Lena," he said quietly. The line went still. Then, "So you do remember." The room seemed smaller. "You're dead," he said. "I made sure of it." "No," she replied. "You made sure I disappeared." His reflection stared back at him, older, colder, harder. "Why are you calling?" he asked. There was a pause. A long one. "Because your son turned 6 today." The word hit him like a bullet. His knees didn't buckle. His face didn't change. But something inside him did. "You're lying," he said. "I wish I were. No child survives in my world without my knowledge." "He wasn't in your world," she said. "That was the point." Victor turned sharply. "Say it again." "You have a son," she repeated. "And he looks just like you." His mind raced. Timelines, risks, possibilities, traps. "You vanished," he said. "You vanished because you were compromised." "I vanished because you scared me." He said nothing. "I watched what you were capable of," she continued. "The way men died when your name crossed their lips. I didn't want my child growing up inside a coffin-shaped legacy." "That child wouldn't be alive without me," Victor snapped. "And he wouldn't be alive with you," she fired back. Silence returned, thicker now. Then she said softly, "He asked about you today." Victor closed his eyes. "What did you tell him?" he asked. "That his father was powerful," she said, "but not safe." His jaw tightened. "Why now?" he asked. "Why call me after almost 2 years?" "Because someone else found him." The room seemed to tilt. "Who?" "I don't know," she said. "But they asked for you by name." "That wasn't possible." Victor's enemies didn't believe in bloodlines. They believed in leverage. "You're lying," he said again, this time, less certain. "I sent proof," she said. 5 seconds ago. Victor's phone vibrated. He didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on the skyline. Then, slowly, he lowered his gaze. A photo filled the screen. A small boy stood in a school hallway, backpack crooked, hair dark, eyes sharp. But it wasn't the face that froze Victor's breath. It was the ring on the boy's finger. A silver signet ring. Victor's family ring. The one his father had worn the night he was murdered. The one Victor had buried with him. The one no one else on earth should have possessed. His heart slammed against his ribs. "That ring was in a coffin," he said. "No," Lena replied. "It was on your hand the night you saved me." Victor's fingers trembled, barely. "You stole it," he whispered. "I took it," she corrected. "So he'd know who he came from." The silence between them felt like a held breath before a trigger pull. "Where are you?" Victor demanded. "I can't tell you. You just declared war on my patience." "I just saved your bloodline," she said. "There's a difference." His eyes hardened. "If this is a trap, then you're already dead," she said calmly. "Because they're closer to him than you are." His chest tightened. "Who are they?" he asked. "I don't know," she said. "But I know they want him alive." "That's worse," Victor muttered. "They know what he is," she whispered. The line crackled. "Victor, they know who you are." His office door suddenly chimed, one of his men requesting entry. He ignored it. "Listen carefully," he said. "You're going to stay where you are." "I can't." "You're going to trust me." "I did that once," she said. "It almost killed me." Before he could respond, the call ended. Dead silence. Victor stared at the phone. Then at the photo. Then at the ring. For the first time in over a decade, something inside him cracked. Not fear, not anger. Something worse. Uncertainty. He turned and pressed a button on his desk. "Bring me Dante," he said into the intercom. "And lock the elevators." A second later. "And wipe every network channel. I want ghosts." He looked back at the phone. At the boy. At the blood he never knew existed. Outside, sirens wailed somewhere in the city, distant, meaningless. But inside Victor Moretti's empire, something ancient had just awakened. And nothing terrifies a king more than blood he cannot control. The city felt different when Victor Moretti stepped outside the penthouse that night. Not louder. Not darker. Closer. Like the shadows had leaned in. His convoy cut through downtown in silence. Armored SUVs, windows blacked out, routes changed twice in under 10 minutes. Every man inside the vehicles was elite, loyal, handpicked. But tonight, Victor trusted no one fully. Because someone had touched his blood. And blood changed everything. In the lead car, Dante sat stiffly in the passenger seat, eyes scanning reflections instead of roads. "You ran the photo?" Victor asked from the back. "Yes," Dante said. "No digital trail. No school database. No facial match. Like the kid doesn't exist." Victor's jaw tightened. "No one doesn't exist," he said. "Someone erased him." "And someone wanted you to see him," Dante added. Victor said nothing. The ring haunted him. That ring was buried with his father. The night his father's body was found in the trunk of a river car, hands bound, eyes open, the ring had been missing. Victor had assumed the killers took it as a trophy. Now he knew the truth. He'd been wearing it the night Lena saved his life. And somehow, without realizing it, he'd handed his legacy to a woman who vanished into the world. A woman who had just reappeared, with a weapon no enemy could compete with. His child. "Bring up Lena Volkov," Victor said. Dante hesitated. "There is no Lena Volkov." Victor's eyes sharpened. "There was," Dante continued. 16 months ago. Ukrainian passport. No criminal history. Medical training. She left a private hospital under her own name, then vanished into undocumented space. No fingerprints. No social footprint. She's either dead or very good. Victor leaned back. "She was better than good," he muttered. "She survived me." That night, Victor didn't return home. He relocated to one of his oldest safe houses, a brownstone on the edge of the financial district, forgotten by the city, invisible to satellites. The building had once belonged to a judge he'd buried and replaced with silence. Perfect place to think. Perfect place to bleed. Inside, the walls were bare. No art. No photos. No mirrors. Just concrete and light. Victor stood alone in the living room, staring at the photo of the boy on his phone. Same eyes. Same jaw. Same stillness behind the stare, that quiet intelligence predators had before they learned how to hunt. 6 years old. That meant Lena had been pregnant while he was fighting a war. While he was ordering executions. While he was becoming something no child should inherit. His phone buzzed. A message. No sender ID. Just coordinates. Victor froze. "They're fast," he murmured. Dante stepped forward. "Sir." "Don't," Victor said. "Not yet." The coordinates pointed to a subway station, one he'd shut down years ago after a cartel burned 3 civilians alive underground. "Too public," Dante said. "Too messy." "Exactly," Victor replied. "Which means it's not them." "You think it's her?" "I think it's bait," Victor said. "But not from an enemy." They moved anyway. 3 vehicles. 2 decoy routes. Full blackout protocols. Victor didn't sit still. He never did when something personal was on the line. The station was abandoned, flickering lights, graffiti, water dripping from broken pipes like a slow heartbeat. Victor walked first. No armor. No visible weapons. "Sir," Dante whispered, "this feels wrong." "Everything about blood feels wrong," Victor replied. "That's how you know it's real." At the end of the platform, someone stood. A woman. "Put up." "Still." Victor's breath slowed. "Lena," he said. She stepped into the light. Her face had changed, thinner, harder, eyes carrying exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix. But it was her. "You shouldn't have come alone," she said. "I didn't," Victor replied. "But you did." She almost smiled. "Always," she said. "That's how I survived you." His gaze dropped. Her hands were empty. "Where is he?" Victor asked. Her eyes hardened. "Safe," she said. "For now." "For now isn't a location," Victor snapped. "It's a warning." He stepped closer. "You told me someone else found him." "They did," she said. 2 weeks ago." "Who?" "I don't know," she said. "But they weren't amateurs. They didn't threaten. They observed. Asked questions about you. About me. About the boy." Victor's spine chilled. That meant intelligence-level surveillance. Not street criminals. Not rivals. Something organized. "They didn't take him," Victor said. "No," Lena replied. "They let me know they could." Silence settled between them. "You put my ring on him," Victor said. Her eyes flicked away. "I wanted him to have something real," she said. "Something that didn't lie." "That ring is a death sentence," Victor said. "It's a symbol." "It's his blood," she snapped. "And you don't get to erase that." His voice lowered. "You erased me." "You erased yourself," she said. "I just stayed gone long enough for you to feel it." He studied her. "You called me because you're scared," he said. "I called you because he's not invisible anymore," she said. "And because I can't protect him from what's coming." Victor leaned closer. "You think I can?" "No," she said. "I think you're what's coming." That landed hard. "You built an empire," she continued. "But you also built enemies who understand legacy. Blood. Succession. They don't want you dead, Victor. They want you weak." He said nothing. "They want him," she whispered. Victor's eyes darkened. "Anyone who touches him dies," he said flatly. "That's what terrifies me," she said. "Because the moment you move him into your world, he becomes a target instead of a ghost." A sound echoed down the tunnel. Footsteps. Not his men. Lena stiffened. "You weren't followed," Victor said. "I didn't bring anyone," she whispered. The lights flickered. Gunshots. Dante's voice exploded through Victor's earpiece. "Contact. Platform level." Victor pulled Lena down behind a concrete pillar as bullets ripped through the air, shattering tile, sparks flying. Move! Victor barked. They ran. Bootsteps thundered above them. Not sloppy. Not panicked. Disciplined. Tactical. Professional. Victor returned fire, 2 shots, not to kill, but to measure response. Immediate repositioning. Clean angles. Whoever they weren't here for a robbery. They were here for information. This way. Lena shouted, dragging Victor through a service corridor. They burst through a maintenance door into the tunnel darkness. Her breathing was sharp. You said they didn't take him, Victor snapped. They didn't, she gasped. But they're testing you. A bullet struck the wall inches from Victor's head. This isn't a test, he growled. This is a message. They escaped through a locked utility exit where Dante's team intercepted, weapons raised, dragging Victor back under armored cover. Lena was gone. Vanished into the dark like she'd never existed. Dante grabbed Victor's arm. Sir, who were they? Victor stared into the tunnel where Lena had disappeared. I don't know, he said slowly. But they're not after me. He turned toward his men, eyes cold. They're after my blood. And somewhere in the city, a child who didn't know his name had just become the most dangerous secret in the underworld. Power doesn't fall from the outside. It rots from within. Victor Moretti learned that truth the morning after the subway ambush, standing inside his war room, a steel and glass bunker buried beneath an abandoned shipping terminal. Screens glowed across the walls, displaying maps of the city, financial flows, shipment routes, and faces of men who controlled entire criminal districts. Men who now felt unfamiliar. Every lieutenant was present. Every captain. Every soldier worth trusting. And yet, Victor felt alone. Run it again, he said. Dante replayed the footage, thermal scans from the subway tunnels, facial captures from drones overhead, ballistic reports from street cameras. The attackers had moved like military contractors. Not cartel. Not syndicate. Not police. Something else. They weren't there to kill you, Dante said. Their fire was controlled. They were probing. Watching response times. Victor's eyes stayed on the screen. They were counting, he murmured. How fast we move. How we move. Who we send. Sir? Dante asked. They're mapping us, Victor said. Not hunting me. Studying me. The room went quiet. And they already found my son, Victor added. That shattered the silence. Some men shifted. Others stiffened. A few avoided eye contact. Victor noticed everything. Good liars learned to lie with stillness. Bad liars lied with motion. But the best liars didn't lie at all. They just let truth rot before it reached daylight. He's a rumor, one lieutenant said carefully. Probably a bluff. Victor's gaze cut through him. You think someone staged a subway assault for a rumor? The man swallowed. No, sir. Then stop pretending, Victor said coldly. Because someone in this room leaked something. No one spoke. Victor stepped forward. My safe houses changed last night, he said. 3 routes rerouted. 4 codes reset. And still they found me. Eyes widened. That means the leak wasn't digital, Victor continued. It wasn't financial. And it wasn't operational. He paused. It was human. Silence thickened. You've got 20 seconds, Victor said calmly. Convince me you're not the problem. No one moved. 20 seconds passed like a slow execution. Meeting adjourned, Victor said. They filed out. But the damage remained. The empire no longer felt solid. It felt hollow. That afternoon, 3 things happened. First, one of Victor's weapons shipments vanished between ports. No hijacking. No arrests. Just erased. Second, a federal task force raided one of his money laundries with impossible timing, minutes after internal route changes. Third, a lieutenant named Marco was found dead in his apartment, wrists slit, blood drained into a bathtub filled with ice. The message written on the mirror in his blood read, "Blood decides kings." Victor stared at the photo for a long time. Marco had been loyal for 11 years. No criminal history outside Victor's organization. No known enemies. No psychological instability. Which meant one thing. He didn't kill himself. He was sacrificed. By someone inside. Victor crushed the phone in his palm. They're shaping the board, he muttered. Dante nodded. They want us unstable. No, Victor said. They want us suspicious. Because suspicion didn't just break trust. It broke speed. It broke clarity. It broke command. And in Victor's world, hesitation was death. That night, Victor made a decision. He would disappear. Not from the city, from visibility. He abandoned penthouses, offices, known safe houses. He began operating from moving locations, ghost buildings, unregistered industrial zones. His lieutenants stopped seeing him face to face. Orders came through fractured channels. No one knew where he slept. Not even Dante. The empire continued to run, but slower. Edgier. Men second-guessed orders. Shipments delayed. Payments stalled. Fear replaced certainty. And fear was contagious. Meanwhile, Victor hunted his own shadow. He ordered full psychological profiles on every lieutenant. Childhoods, trauma points, addictions, families, weaknesses. He studied them like suspects in a murder case. Not to kill them. To understand how someone could betray him without knowing they were betraying him. Because this felt bigger than greed. Bigger than ambition. This felt engineered. One night, Dante entered Victor's temporary base, an abandoned steel plant near the river. Sir, he said quietly, we found something. Victor looked up from a city grid. Talk. Marco wasn't murdered at his apartment, Dante said. He was killed elsewhere. The scene was staged. Victor's eyes narrowed. By whom? Unknown, Dante said. But the killer left something behind. He slid a tablet forward. It showed a still frame from a security camera, Marco entering a parking garage 2 hours before his death. He wasn't alone. He was with a woman. Victor's breath caught. Zoom, he said. The image sharpened. Long dark hair. Sharp eyes. Lena. Victor stared at the screen. That's impossible, he said. She disappeared after the subway. Not entirely, Dante said. She accessed 3 of our surveillance nodes last night. Then vanished again. Victor felt his chest tighten. She wouldn't do this, he said. She was with Marco before he died. That doesn't make her the killer, Victor snapped. But doubt crept in anyway. Doubt always did. That was the enemy's real weapon. That night, Victor tried to call Lena. The line didn't ring. Didn't fail. Didn't connect. It just didn't exist. He slammed the phone down. She's not betraying me, he whispered. But the city didn't care about his beliefs. It only cared about outcomes. By morning, 2 captains had defected to rival syndicates. By noon, a weapons convoy was ambushed inside Victor's own territory, a location only his inner circle knew. By nightfall, someone attempted to assassinate Dante using a weapon registered to Victor's organization. That was the final signal. This wasn't infiltration. This was internal war. Victor stood in a dark warehouse overlooking the river, rain hammering against broken windows, watching city lights smear across black water. They're turning us on ourselves, Dante said quietly. They're making us bleed from inside. No, Victor said. They're making us doubt. Turned. Find every place Lena has touched, he ordered. Every camera. Every server. Every street she crossed. Dante hesitated. You think she's involved? I think she's being used, Victor said. Or framed. Or she's bait, Dante said. Victor's eyes darkened. She wouldn't use the boy, he said. But someone else would. A message suddenly appeared on Victor's burner phone. No number. No trace. Just text. Your empire isn't collapsing. It's molting. Victor's jaw tightened. Another message followed. And when it sheds its skin, only blood survives. Then, a third message. An image. A grainy security still of a child standing at a bus stop, hood up, backpack slung low. But what froze Victor wasn't the boy's face. It was the man standing behind him. One of Victor's own lieutenants. Hand resting protectively on the child's shoulder. Victor's blood went cold. That's impossible, Dante whispered. He'd never. Victor cut him off. He already has. Because the worst betrayal wasn't disloyalty. It was familiarity. Victor stared at the image. At his son. At the man who swore loyalty to him. And realized something horrifying. This wasn't a war against his empire. This was a war for his legacy. And the enemy wasn't trying to kill the king. They were trying to replace him. Power didn't vanish when empires collapsed. It hid. And Victor Moretti was beginning to understand something terrifying. This wasn't about territory. This wasn't about money. This was about succession. The warehouse lights hummed faintly as Victor stared at the image of his son on the burner phone. The boy standing still at a bus stop, unaware his existence had just destabilized an empire. The lieutenant beside him in the photo was Renzo. Renzo Vale. One of Victor's earliest soldiers. A man who'd carried bodies for him before he ever carried titles. He raised me, Dante whispered. Renzo taught me how to survive this world. Victor said nothing. Because betrayal didn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it came from the men who knew your habits, your blind spots, your dreams. Bring Renzo in, Victor said calmly. Dante hesitated. Alive. Victor turned slowly. Everyone's alive until they're not, he said. Bring him. Renzo arrived within the hour, hands free, expression neutral, confidence unshaken. He walked into the steel plant warehouse like a man stepping into his own living room. You wanted me, boss? Renzo said easily. Victor studied him. Renzo's heartbeat didn't change. His breathing didn't stutter. No fear. No guilt. That was worse than panic. You were seen with my son, Victor said flatly. The room went cold. Renzo didn't blink. Show me, he said. Victor slid the phone forward. Renzo stared at the image. Then slowly smiled. You finally found out, he said. Dante's hand twitched toward his weapon. Victor raised a finger. Explain, Victor said. I didn't betray you, Renzo replied calmly. I outgrew you. The words landed like glass in the lungs. You trained me to survive in a world that kills the weak, Renzo continued. But you forgot to teach me how to wait while you got old. Victor's eyes narrowed. You touched my blood. Renzo leaned forward. I protected it, he said. From you. Silence swallowed the room. You build empires, Renzo continued. But empires decay. Kings rot. Bloodlines don't. Victor stepped closer. You think you're worthy of carrying mine? Renzo smiled thinly. I think I'm worthy of shaping it. Before Dante could react, the lights died. Darkness swallowed the warehouse. Gunshots exploded. Screams. Metal crashing. Dante dragged Victor behind a steel column as bullets ripped through shadows. Ambush! Dante shouted. Victor returned fire blindly. Muzzle flashes lit Renzo's silhouette, then he vanished. When the lights surged back, 3 of Victor's men lay dead. Renzo was gone. So was the phone. And worse. So was the security feed. He hadn't escaped. He'd been extracted. Victor rose slowly, rage boiling beneath his calm. They're not stealing power, Victor muttered. They're harvesting it. That night, the city burned quietly. 3 of Victor's fronts collapsed within hours. 2 financial pipelines froze. A port authority official defected. Every failure traced back to Renzo. But Renzo wasn't acting alone. He was operating with precision too clean for street crime. This was orchestration. Military grade. Psychological. Legacy-focused. They're grooming the boy, Dante said quietly. Victor didn't respond. Because he'd just received a message. A location. An address. And 2 words. Come alone. Dante stiffened. Sir. No, Victor said. This isn't a threat. It's a summons. To what? Judgment, Victor replied. He went alone. No convoy. No backup. No weapons. Just a coat, a burner phone, and the weight of blood he didn't know how to carry. The address led to an abandoned opera house on the edge of the old city, closed decades ago after a fire killed 14 people during a performance. The kind of place ghosts felt comfortable. Victor entered through a side door. Inside, dust coated velvet seats like ash. Moonlight spilled through shattered glass, illuminating the stage. Someone stood in the center. Not Renzo. Lena. Her eyes widened when she saw him. You shouldn't have come, she whispered. Neither should you, Victor said. I didn't summon you. Then who did? Victor asked. Before she could answer, the stage lights ignited. Blinding. A voice echoed through the speakers. Measured. Cold. Welcome, Victor Moretti. Victor didn't flinch. Show yourself, he said. Not yet, the voice replied. We prefer introductions to unfold. The curtain behind Lena rose. Slowly. And Victor froze. Standing center stage was the boy. His son. Unrestrained. Unhurt. Unaware. Holding a small paper crown in his hands. Victor's chest tightened. Don't move, the voice warned. He's safe as long as you are. Lena spun. What is this? She demanded. This, the voice said, is the future. Victor's fists clenched. Let him go, he said. Why? The voice replied. So you can turn him into what you became? I didn't choose this life, Victor growled. It chose me. And now it chooses him, the voice said calmly. Footsteps echoed. Renzo emerged from the shadows above the balcony, flanked by armed men. You're insane, Lena whispered. Renzo smiled. No, he said. I'm realistic. Victor stared at him. You orchestrated this, Victor said. I engineered it, Renzo replied. You taught me how. You brought my son here, Victor snarled. I brought your legacy, Renzo said. There's a difference. Victor stepped forward. I will kill you, he said quietly. Renzo shrugged. Eventually, he said. But not tonight. The voice spoke again. We don't want your death, Victor. We want your evolution. What does that mean? Victor demanded. It means your empire is outdated, the voice replied. Fear is inefficient. Blood is permanent. Victor looked at his son. At the small crown in his hands. You're grooming him, Victor said. No, the voice replied. We're replacing you. Lena turned to Victor, eyes wide. You said he wouldn't be safe with you, she whispered. But this is worse. Victor said nothing. Because something felt wrong. Too clean. Too staged. Too symbolic. The boy wasn't afraid. He wasn't crying. He wasn't confused. He was Victor took a step closer. Son, he said softly. The boy looked up. Their eyes met. And Victor's breath stopped. Because the boy didn't recognize him. But he also didn't feel like a stranger. It was like he was looking at someone he'd been told about, not someone he knew. And then the boy spoke. They said you'd come, he said quietly. Victor froze. Who did? Victor asked. The people who gave me the crown, the boy replied. Victor's blood ran cold. What people? Victor asked. The boy hesitated. They said I was special, he said. That I wasn't supposed to grow up normal. Renzo smiled. See, he said. He already understands. Lena staggered back. You monsters, she whispered. Victor's eyes burned. You touched his mind, he said. We prepared it, the voice replied. Because thrones aren't inherited anymore. They're designed. Suddenly, alarms blared. Gunfire erupted outside. Dante's voice burst through Victor's earpiece. Sir, multiple teams converging. This is a kill zone. Renzo swore. They weren't supposed to. Lights exploded. Smoke filled the theater. Chaos. Victor grabbed Lena. Run, he shouted. But the boy didn't move. Wait. Victor yelled. Come with me. The boy hesitated, then turned toward Renzo. Victor's heart shattered. Before anyone could react, the floor beneath the stage dropped. Trapdoors opened. The boy disappeared into darkness. Lena screamed. Victor lunged forward, too late. The stage collapsed. Smoke swallowed everything. And when the dust settled, the boy was gone. Renzo was gone. The voice was gone. Only silence remained. Victor stood in the ruins of the theater, heart pounding, lungs burning, staring into the empty pit where his son had been standing seconds before. And in that moment, he understood something horrifying. This wasn't a rescue mission. This wasn't a war. This was a chess game. And his son wasn't the hostage. He was the prize. The city didn't erupt when the boy vanished. It fractured. Quietly. Like glass cracking beneath pressure you didn't hear until it shattered. Victor Moretti stood alone in the ruins of the opera house, dust settling on his coat, smoke stinging his eyes, staring into the black pit where his son had disappeared. He didn't scream. Didn't chase. Didn't collapse. Because kings didn't break in public. They broke in preparation. They took him, Lena whispered behind him, shaking. They took him. Victor turned slowly. No, he said. They didn't take him. She looked at him. They activated him. Her breath caught. What does that mean? It means he wasn't a hostage, Victor said. He was a variable. Dante's voice crackled in his earpiece. Sir, Renzo escaped. Multiple exits. No trace. Victor closed his eyes. Renzo hadn't fled. He'd advanced. Because this wasn't about kidnapping. It was about installation. Back inside Victor's war network, chaos spread like fire through dry wood. 3 lieutenants were assassinated within hours. 2 defected publicly to rival syndicates. 1 disappeared entirely. And every move traced back to a child no one was supposed to know existed. They're crowning him, Dante said quietly inside the command bunker. Symbolically, at least. Victor stared at the city grid. No, he replied. They're conditioning him. To what? Dante asked. To rule something worse than this, Victor said. A system that doesn't need violence to control power. A system that installs kings instead of killing them. Dante frowned. Who are they? Victor exhaled. People who don't need territories, he said. They need narratives. Lena sat alone in the corner of the room, shaking, wrapped in a borrowed jacket, staring at the floor. This is my fault, she whispered. I tried to hide him from monsters. I delivered him to something worse. Victor walked over slowly. You didn't deliver him, he said. You delayed them. She looked up, eyes red. For how long? Victor didn't answer. Because he didn't know. And not knowing felt like suffocation. That night, Victor did something he'd never done before. He dismantled himself. Not publicly. Internally. He shut down half his operations, weapons pipelines, trafficking corridors, laundering networks, not because they were compromised, but because they were predictable. Predictability was weakness. His empire had always thrived on fear. But fear had patterns. And patterns could be mapped. They're building something new, Victor told Dante. So we become something old. What does that mean? Dante asked. It means we vanish. Within 48 hours, Victor's digital presence was erased. No active accounts. No financial fingerprints. No known locations. No recognizable command structure. His empire didn't collapse. It hollowed. Like a shell waiting to be filled. And that was exactly what frightened his enemies. Because you couldn't defeat something you couldn't find. Meanwhile, messages started arriving. Not threats. Not demands. Lessons. Encrypted videos delivered through channels Victor didn't recognize. Each one featured a man speaking calmly into a camera, face hidden, voice distorted. Legacy is not inherited, the voice said. It is engineered. Another video. Kings fall. Bloodlines persist. Another. Your son isn't being trained to replace you. He's being trained to obsolete you. Victor crushed the tablet. They're brainwashing him, Lena sobbed. No, Victor said quietly. They're rewriting him. That was worse. Because rewritten minds didn't rebel. They complied. One night, Victor received a final message. No encryption. No firewall breach. No trace. Just coordinates. And 3 words. Witness your legacy. Victor didn't tell Dante. Didn't bring soldiers. Didn't bring weapons. He went alone. The location led him underground. Beneath a decommissioned biotech facility on the outskirts of the city. Clean hallways. White lights. Silent corridors. Not a criminal den. A laboratory. Victor followed the signs deeper until he reached a glass observation room. Inside the chamber beyond was his son, seated at a table. Composed. Not restrained. Not afraid. Not confused. A man in a tailored suit stood beside him, not Renzo. Someone else. Older. Colder. Smarter. Welcome, Victor Moretti, the man said without turning. I've been waiting for you. Victor stepped closer. Let him go, he said. The man smiled faintly. You still think this is imprisonment? He gestured toward the boy. He's here because he wants to be. Victor's chest tightened. That's impossible. Is it? The man asked. He's been told the truth. About you. About us. About what power really costs. The boy turned slowly. Their eyes met, and Victor felt something crack inside his ribs. Not because the boy looked afraid, but because he didn't look like a child. He looked older, colder, sharper, like someone who had learned something irreversible. Hi, the boy said quietly. Victor swallowed. Hi, he replied. Silence stretched. They said you're dangerous, the boy continued. But not because you hurt people. Victor didn't move. They said you destroy futures, the boy said. Including your own. Lena's words echoed in Victor's head. You build coffins and call them kingdoms. You don't know me, Victor said softly. The boy tilted his head. I know what you are, he replied. They showed me. Victor's throat tightened. What did they show you? They showed me what happens to people around you, the boy said calmly. They showed me how you rule. Victor stepped forward. I never wanted this life for you, he said. I know, the boy replied. They told me that too. The man smiled. See, he said. He understands you better than you think. Victor's fists clenched. You're manipulating him. No, the man said. We're educating him. To become what? Victor demanded. Something better than you, the man replied. Something permanent. Victor leaned toward the glass. Son, he said quietly. Listen to me. The boy hesitated. I don't hate you, he said. But I don't trust you either. That sentence cut deeper than any blade. You're afraid of me, Victor whispered. The boy shook his head. No, he said. I'm afraid of becoming you. Silence crushed the room. That's enough, Victor growled. This ends now. The man chuckled softly. You still think this is your choice? Lights dimmed. Screens ignited across the room. Financial markets, political maps, supply routes, global influence structures. Your empire is regional, the man said. Violent, but temporary. You rule with fear. He gestured to the screens. We rule with systems. Victor stared. This isn't crime, Victor said. This is government. The man smiled. Exactly. The boy watched silently. They're not training him to be a king, Victor realized. They're training him to be a program. Leadership without ego, the man replied. Power without fingerprints. Victor turned to his son. They're stealing your childhood, he said. The boy paused. I don't want a childhood, he said. I want control. Victor's breath left his lungs. Because that wasn't a child speaking. That was a product. A weapon. A crown built from code and blood. Victor slammed his fist against the glass. I will burn this world down before I let you take him. The man's smile vanished. Careful, he said. He's already choosing. Victor froze. The boy stepped back. Away from the glass. Away from Victor. Toward the man. I don't want to hurt you, the boy said. But I don't want to be weak. Victor's heart shattered. Weakness is choosing them, Victor said. The boy looked at him, really looked. Then whispered. They said you'd say that. The lights cut. Alarms blared. Doors sealed. Security shutters dropped. Victor reached for his phone, no signal. The glass wall became opaque. The boy vanished behind it. And the man's final words echoed through the speakers. Blood doesn't crown kings anymore, Victor. Belief does. Silence fell. Victor stood alone in the underground chamber, staring at his own reflection in the glass. A king without a throne, a father without a son, a ruler facing something worse than death. Obsolescence. And somewhere beyond the walls, his blood was being shaped into something he couldn't recognize. Something he might one day have to destroy.